Good afternoon, everyone. Merch Hunter Ricky back, and today I want to talk about the potential matchup we have in a battle of snipers, USOPP and Van Augur, or Augur, however you say it. What I want to bring up about this battle is that I think this will be one of the more serious battles in the Straw Hats. Like, personally, I see Katarina Devon going after Nami or Robin. You know, she's the Crescent Moon Hunter. She likes killing beautiful ladies. Nami and Robin are about as beautiful as it gets. We know Luffy has to fight Blackbeard, right? That's kind of a given. I've seen new speculation on who's going to fight Vasco Shot. You know, I know some YouTubers say they want him to fight Brook, and I think that's an excellent idea, but I personally think Brook is going to go for Lafitte, and, you know, Burgess is probably going to go for someone like Frankie or Jinbei, or maybe even Sanji. You know, just that kind of stuff, right? Chopper obviously gets .Q all to himself, and Avalo Pizarro, who knows? Shiryu goes right to Zoro, right? So, I'm assuming maybe some of these fights will take place with matchups like duos, but that's neither here nor there. What I want to go back to is Usopp versus Van Augur, because Usopp has taken kind of a back seat since Dressrosa, and he has not done anything with his observation hockey. Moreover, he took on a more comedic, cowardly role all over again, just like in the previous, you know, pre-time skip era and early post-Fishman Island era of One Piece. Because in Fishman Island, all the Straw Hats had like a low diff battle against the entirety of the Hody pirates, because they had power that they were not ready to utilize in the form of those energy steroids, right? So, and like, when you go back to the series and you Google how many snipers are in One Piece, there's an astounding amount. Like, Chu from the Arlong Pirates was their sniper. I don't remember that. Chess from, he's like that weird looking triangle gesture dude from Wapol's trio. He's a sniper. And the list goes on. What I like about the potential matchup of the obvious battle of these two is that, one, Van Augur has already potentially fought Yasopp, and the only reason I bring this up is because of how quickly they pulled their guns up at each other at Marineford. I found that extremely interesting. You know, obviously Shanks and Blackbeard, I've talked about this at length before, they had a previous encounter. For some reason, Blackbeard got the one up on Shanks and scarred the crap out of him real fast. But what I want to focus on, again, how will Usopp take on Van Augur, who now has the warp fruit and most likely has unlocked a form of hockey. I'm going to go ahead and assume armament, just because he relies so heavily on his multiple eyesights, both on his face and on his gun. And his gun, I think, is Senriku. We'll get into that later, because that gun does not look like any regular piece of equipment. It looks almost steampunkish. First things first, the way Usopp has been given feats in the series left and right, I think are building up to this ultimate battle, because we haven't seen Van Augur take damage except for at the hands of Sengoku, I believe, and it effed him up, but he did get back up. And obviously I doubt Sengoku was going for a finishing blow. He probably just wanted to get them out of there, because he knows, he of all people would know that someone who comes up just to start shit with Whitebeard can't be a regular pirate. But Usopp's feats, you know, before he started doing major things in One Piece, he got his very first feat, and I don't really care about what happened on Syrup Village. That was him learning to be himself, right? His very first major feat was back in Alabasta, when he stood up and was like, Chopper, sometimes a man's gotta be a man, and, you know, he devised that little plan with Chopper for Chopper to go into Horn Point, and he pulled his little mini hammer back and shot it at Mr. Four, and shot Mr. Four into Miss Merry Christmas and Lasso. That was a really defining moment for Usopp, because he took 4 tons to the face. He took multiple mole bananas from Miss Merry Christmas, which is like her just clawing you with her big banana claws, like looking claws. And Usopp did a great job in that fight, despite getting absolutely decimated. And then, you know, he had moments in Skypiea that I can't quite remember, but I think he just kind of helped fight Hattori. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I don't really remember him being too strong on Skypiea. In fact, I'm pretty sure he got one-shotted by Enel. And then, you know, further down the series, he did not do so good in Water 7, like at all. He got beat up by the Frankie family. He did fight Luffy, and although he did do well, which shows the potential of something of his like almost Batman style of fighting in that fight, where he was super prepared out the ass, laid all these traps for Luffy, knew what hurts Luffy, and ultimately did get the one up on Luffy for a time being. Advantage was favoring Usopp, and then, you know, Luffy was the main character, and he then said it's main charactering time and main charactered all over Luffy, or all over Usopp's face, and you know that happens. But now after the time skip, you know, we have Usopp using oh, you know what, before that, then in Thriller Bark, right, how he fought Perona, and I doubt she's the sniper of the Moria pirates, but on the off chance that they are, you know, that she was, he beat her, and he beat her with a gimmick battle, and that's kind of what I want to get into, because I would really not like Usopp and Van Augur to be a gimmick battle, right? I feel like Usopp deserves better than that. He needs to grow up and use that hockey and actually show what it means to be the king of the pirates sniper, personally. Now, on Bowen Islands, he learned a whole new style of fighting with the pop greens shown to him by Heraclean, and although I love that fighting style, I would like Usopp to at least pick up a gun at some point in the series, and if he doesn't use one, that's completely fine. Like, that's not going to ruin my like of Usopp at all. What almost ruined my like of Usopp was him and Wano, to be fair. Although he did get a good shot off on Ulti, you know, ultimately, no pun intended, he got destroyed by Page 1 and Ulti over and over again, and it was just kind of annoying to watch. But, hey, these new plants of his do have something that Augur doesn't, which is tons and tons of different utilization capabilities. You know, we've seen him make those like bamboo stakes. He has the Trampolia, multiple different types of Fire Star now, and those are just like his, you know, what he can do with the pop greens and Skypea dials, because he does still have some of them. And then he also has Skull Bomb Grass and things of that nature, and an Impact Wolf, that's a great move. And overall, that will make Usopp, you know, I personally think going into a fight, even with a Devil Fruit user, with the Warp Fruit of all things, as long as Usopp can gain control of his hockey, which I really hope they put a focus on soon, I think Usopp will stand a decent chance against Van Augur. However, let's not take anything away from Van Augur, because you know what he is a trained killer. And just because, as we saw on Winter Island when he shot John Bart, don't take anything away from Van Augur. Give the credit all to John Bart, because Van Augur probably didn't even think he would need armament hockey, or maybe he was using weaker ammo than normal. You don't know if Blackbeard was just like, all right, we're going, and he had zero time to prepare. We don't know the specifics of it, but what we do know is that John Bart was strong enough to tank those bullets. And looking at him, he doesn't appear to be a regular human, right? And if he's not, then, you know, maybe we'll get that reveal later down the line, because if, let's say, Blackbeard did beat Law, right, then we will probably get some information about the Law Pirates from the Blackbeard crew. And I feel like whatever the hell John Bart is, if he is a human, more power to him. But I personally think he's got some other DNA in there, because that was really impressive, just eating those bullets like nothing, and no visible armament coating. So you either have to go with, yes, he has hockey, and so does Van Augur. It's just they're not doing like advanced coding where their limbs turn black, or, you know, highlighted black red, highlighted black blue, black purple. Because at a certain point, I don't know if the advanced armament hockey is visible. I've always assumed that it is, and if it's not, it doesn't really hurt the story. What we have, though, is a very unique situation right now on the Hachinosu, where there is another sniper using plants, hibari. And I find that very interesting, because if the Straw Hats have to work with sword at some point in the story, let's say they don't get beaten at Hachinosu and they're able to leave, right? The next thing that Garp is going to hear is about Egghead. And maybe not, you know, that day, but I don't think Garp is going to take Luffy in the company of Vegapunk lightly, personally. And if he's already got these ride or die sword members, I genuinely think they're just going to follow him. And if Usopp and Hibari meet, and Hibari explains to Usopp about the GP flowers, or Vegapunk explains to Usopp about his GP flowers, whichever one comes first, I feel like that will give him a further edge against Van Augur, because if he can pull a Hibari, which I'm going to assume she shot into each barrel the flowers before those pirates even knew it was coming, which is a massive feat when you think about it. Like, that is really, really good sniping and very strong usage of like weapon capability and mastery at its finest. And that's what I'm here for. However, gotta zoom in on Hibari's sight because she's using an extreme sight as well. And you know, Usopp gained observation hockey for a reason. I don't want that to just be a one-off, because I really feel like going further that would severely damage all the feats that Usopp has brought up until Dressrosa. I can understand being severely outmatched in Wano. I mean, like, you're fighting people who turn into kaijus, dinosaurs, dragon fruit, dinosaur, whatever. But at the end of the day, they were kaiju people. And not everyone can take a kaiju person. I mean, Luffy shifted into Gear 4 to fight Ulti. Let's not take anything away from them. Ulti was a big idiot. I mean, not Ulti. Page 1 was a big idiot. And that's, you know, very evident by the fact that he got absolutely destroyed by Sanji. And I don't care what anyone says. I will never believe that Page 1 was talented at all at using his fruit. I feel like he just relied on intimidation tactics and, you know, 20 years of beating on people in Wano, you never really had a challenge. That's always what I say about the Animal Kingdom pirates. What challenge did they ever face? Finding more alcohol for Kaido? You know? Obviously, they didn't do good against Shanks when Kaido went to go to Marineford himself. So, let's be real here. Usopp was horribly outclassed and outmatched. But I do not think he will be outmatched versus Augur. I think he will be in danger, extreme danger, rather, because Augur is a killer and will kill. He will shoot to kill. And I don't find Usopp taking that lightly. I genuinely think Usopp might stop joking around, running around, for once. I hope so. Because, again, a killer versus Usopp has happened numerous times in the series. Just about everyone Usopp's fighting is a killer, right? But Usopp always finds a way, gimmick or no gimmick. In Fishman Island, he didn't really use a gimmick. He was very ready to beat the ass of whoever he fought, because I don't even remember his fight, because he destroyed, all the Straw Hats destroyed their opponents so quickly, and I can remember most of the Hody pirates, but whoever Usopp fought, I'll add it to the video, but I don't remember that fight. Still to this day, one of my favorite fights in the series, two of them actually belong to Usopp, and it's Usopp vs. Chu and Usopp vs. Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. Four, you know, with the help of Chopper. And I only like that because Usopp gets his ass beat but still rises to the occasion, whereas what we see later down the line is like a diminishing value of Usopp's ability to fight and a diminished return altogether on Usopp's ability to get back up after being hit so hard. I mean, Ulti caved in his skull, sure, but he didn't get back up after that. And I genuinely thought that's when we would see the rise of Usopp shortly after that, and no, not really. And I'm not here to hate on Usopp, I'm here to worry about Usopp, because whether or not he wins or loses, I genuinely think he's going to get messed up by Van Augur. I don't wish this on him, obviously, and I want to see where Oda takes this, and hopefully he doesn't rely on gimmicks. If we team up with Sword, Usopp and Hibari, two plant-using snipers, just sounds very fun. I like the idea of that. And if not, maybe he'll just get his hands on those GP flowers, because that is the perfect thing to stop someone like Van Augur. But at the same time, Augur can start warping around, and who knows if he can warp Usopp without his content. Maybe he has to warp close to Usopp first, touch Usopp, and then warp him. And either way, I feel like he won't be able to defend very well against that, so Usopp will have to rapidly come up with a new plan. I don't know what his plan will be, but I hope it doesn't just involve the plants, the pop greens. I hope he gets those Vegapunk GP flowers, or I hope he pulls out the old school hammer and just doink! He breaks that stupid pair of glasses that Augur wears. I just want Usopp to have a good fight, personally, because I can see whatever fight's coming up against the Blackbeard pirates, everyone but Usopp's makes me believe that they'll be fine, no matter what their matchup is. But Usopp vs. Van Augur has been something that, like, just like Chopper vs. .Q has been the series, like, we've been waiting for it, the fans have called it, nobody can claim that theory as their own. That is just an obvious, done deal, hand shook on it by us and Oda. And if Oda takes away that, I genuinely think a large part of the fandom will be forever hurt by that, including me. But I won't really be hurt too bad. It's kind of like an obvious deal, right? I mean, we even saw, like I said earlier in the video, Yasopp and Van Augur have either fought before, or at that first time they met, they already knew what it was. Sniper, sniper, let's go. And I love that. I'm ready to see that. I hope we see Blackbeard versus the Red Hair Pirates without the Straw Hats' involvement at all. But if we do, that would be a great time for father and son to unite against someone like the warping monster shooting seagulls all the way from Jaya in the middle of the ocean that is Van Augur. I really think that Usopp has a lot of his work cut out for him, and although he has some great techniques at his hand and his disposal, this isn't going to be just an ordinary fight. He's fighting a sniper that is also a devil fruit user, and Usopp is not a devil fruit user, nor has he mastered Haki yet. So all in all, I'm just hoping that this is going to be not everyone's favorite fight, but a large portion of the people who are hoping for this and have been expecting it since we've found the Blackbeard pirates on Jaya. I feel like this is going to be something that after One Piece is said and done, everyone's going to talk about, oh man, remember when my boy Usopp finally leveled up, bossed up, and took down Augar for his dad? Not saying that Augar would kill Yasopp, but you know, they already had their guns pointing at each other, so you know, you point a gun at my dad, I'm taking you down. That's for sure, right? And I hope that somehow, some way, Usopp develops that Haki, gets a little bit more killer instinct, and I hope he takes down Augar in a way that is not a gimmick battle as seen with Perona and a couple other people. And that's basically been the video. So everyone have a good afternoon. My name is Merch Hunter Ricky. This is the last video in this room. I'm really gonna miss this place. This is how I started my channel, but I'm on to bigger and better things, and that makes me very happy. A whole new life for my family awaits down the road, and I can't wait to take you all with me. Have a good one, everyone.